And the hangout is live. Greetings and welcome back once again. This is Amuna Yisrael, Solonomics 101, C3, Lev Project, all of that lovely, nice, beautiful, good stuff. But today, I have a special guest here. Came highly recommended, special guest. Shout out to Brother Gershwell. We have Brother Tmeed-El in the house. Wait a minute, hold on. We're having a little Amuna feedback here. One second. I have a special guest here. All right. Don't worry about the feedback. It's all good. We know the speakers are working. Brother Tmeed-El, how are you this beautiful, hopefully nice afternoon where you are? How are you this evening?
Hey, magnificent, man. Looking forward to the conversation and enlightening the people about what's going on in Africa.
Okay. Brother Tommy, we can't see you. You gonna let the people say, give an introduction, a little bit about yourself, who you are before we go ahead and dive off into, I named it the practical application of consciousness. So hopefully that title is befitting the practical application of consciousness. And that's what we're going to be speaking about here today. What are we doing with all of this information that we are acquiring, and how do we practically apply it? So, Brother Tmeed-El, feel free to show the people them who you are, and give them a little bit of an introduction.
Okay, excellent. My name is Tmeed-El Eliyahu. I'm originally from the Virgin Islands, the British Virgin Islands. And I recently relocated to Tanzania, East Africa. And in my journey, I've been studying a lot, reading a lot, attending a lot of conscious meetings, blending with conscious people sharing ideas. And one of the things that I noticed is that a lot of brothers and sisters, although they're bright, brilliant, eloquent, well-read, well-studied, they don't really transition into application of the knowledge that they acquired. So that's where I wanted to make a difference, and have actually stepped into Africa now, relocated to Tanzania, because we're facing a lot of issues in the Western Hemisphere. And one of the things that we seem trapped in is that we just continue to complain century after century, complaining about the state of affairs, yet not doing anything. So I stepped into Tanzania in order to establish myself there and show the people what an example of applying consciousness can manifest.
All right. So you speak about a lot of things, like you said, that anyone with eyes can definitely notice that we have a level of, like you said, even though we are elevating knowledge wise, and we're gorging ourselves on this knowledge, we seem to be, or think that we are powerless to actually apply this knowledge, and we get into this kind of learned helplessness phase. And you said you wanted to break out of this. So how exactly did you end up picking Tanzania of all places to go and apply this knowledge? Why not, like some people, why not South America? Why not, Georgia or Texas? Why all the way to Tanzania?
Well, ultimately, being a African, we know the continent that we come from. And I want the ultimate expression of life. I want to experience the fullness of life. And in knowing that we have an inheritance in that region of the earth, on that continent, in the region of our birthright, in the region where our fathers lived, that's the region where we'll receive the ultimate power and spiritual energy and advantage. Like having home court advantage. That's where you want to be, to experience the fullness of what we're here to do, which is to fulfill our purpose in this generation. So, I was certainly not wanting, I don't like living in exile. Living in the exile, that's not an option. I don't want to live anywhere else except on the continent where we come from, where we was taken from. So that's why I chose eastward in Eden, eastward in Africa, as my destination, because that's the place of blessings.
I think that's interesting, because you make a point that a lot of people, you'll say, well, I just go to South America. You know what I'm saying? I'll just go to Brazil. I just go to Georgia. And then you have others who are like, well, that's still not good enough. I want to get off of, what I'm saying, this continental plate. You know what I'm saying? I want to cross waters. I want to go back closer to my place of origin, me being one of those people. So I could definitely share that sentiment. So tell them the very interesting story before we get into the presentation that you have for us today, about you packing up your faith basically and landing in Tanzania? Like what was that? What was going on there?
All right. I was in the Virgin Islands at the time, where I said that's where I was born. And, I was doing the regular things that people do. Had a job, working at an ISP company. I'm a computer programmer. I'm a photographer on the side, very well integrated in the community there, the community of Rastafarians. I like to stick around the conscious people. And we have a very large Rastafarian community in the Virgin Islands. So I was in the midst, learning, participating, speaking, taking pictures, doing all kind of activities there. And it was excellent, it was excellent. But I always had that inner urge to relocate. So one of the Rastafarian brothers that I met, his name is Ninja, and he had been to Tanzania. So we would always link up, and he had so much enthusiasm telling me about his experience in Tanzania. So at a appointed time, I decided to quit my job and take a look at this place. I wanted to experience Tanzania because I was really frustrated and tired of living in St. Thomas, in the Virgin Islands, because the place is too limited, an island experience. That's not where I want to be. I view the entire Caribbean, South America, North America, Europe, these are slave colonies. Our presence there was the result of us being the descendants of slaves that were brought there, you know, in former days. So I never felt comfortable in those particular regions. So it kind of came to a head where I felt that I had to make a move. So I packed my bags. I bought a ticket spontaneously. I had a piece of paper with some numbers that the brother Ninja had given me of his contacts in Tanzania. And I just left, I quit my job, like I said, spontaneously. It was a sudden decision. And I'm so glad that I made that decision, because what unfolded when I landed in Tanzania has been the best experience of my life, and an immense blessing, an immense blessing. That was in 2013, November 2013.
Wow, you're speaking about some stuff that in this space that a lot of us are. A lot of people can't fathom that thought process. Some have so much more responsibility, like children and things of that nature, where they may want to be a bit more. Sorry, they want to be a bit more cautious about it. But I do understand that final straw that just makes you feel like you got to get up and go do something, and that's the only way you're going to know. Sometimes some people think that all of the planning in the world is going to make you actually take action, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes the only thing that's going to work is for you to get up and actually do it. So that's what you did. A little bit about you landing in Tanzania. How was it? What did you feel? What did you feel? You know what I'm saying? What was your objective? What did you have in mind? Or were you just playing it by ear?
All right, landed in Tanzania. When I went to Tanzania, first of all, I actually didn't have a plan, and I didn't know anyone. You know, I tried to contact people that were living in Tanzania prior to leaving, but I wasn't able to get in contact with them. So the day that I landed in Tanzania, that was my first time speaking to anyone in Tanzania. The day I landed at the airport,
Oh wow.
which is pretty radical. But like I say, it turned out really blessed. So I got in contact with one of the brothers that Ninja, the brother who told me about Tanzania. I got in contact with one of his brethren, a guy named Ikabunga. He came to retrieve me from the guest house where I was staying the first day in Tanzania. He came the next day, and from then everything was blessed. He was Ikabunga. He is one of the first Rastafarian brothers, conscious brothers in Tanzania. That his whole family were Rastafarian. So he actually built a room adjacent to his house for me to stay in for the first 6 months that I lived in Tanzania. And he gave me the full intro, him and his family. They gave me the full intro into Tanzania. They received me well. They were a vegetarian family, vegan, which is right up my alley. And he's fluent in English and in Swahili. an excellent foundation that I got, and seeing and experiencing the country. I mean, it was just glory, red carpet reception from everyone. The people embraced me fully. And another thing that happened, an amazing blessing, is prior to leaving, I was working for an IT company as a computer programmer. So a month after I arrived in Tanzania, my former boss, he negotiated a contract for me, which enabled me to make my full salary working from the internet, in Tanzania. So
Now that
I was making, my even more than I was making in the islands, because actually they wasn't taking out any tax, zero
right.
tax, you know, for like a year and a half contract, which enabled me to get established a lot faster than I would have otherwise, So that was
Yeah.
an amazing blessing.
Wow. Because that's pretty awesome. That when you're making foreign dough on the continent, now you're talking. So that's pretty awesome. So today you're here. A lot of people be like, well, Brother Tmeed-El, that was good for you. You know what I'm saying? What do you want to bring to the people today? What would you like to share with the people today? I know you have a presentation. We still haven't been able to see you. I'm not sure if the camera is working, if you just wanted to say hello to the people so they know who's speaking. But what did you want to bring to the people today? What would you like to share?
The essence of what I want to share today is number one, the opportunity that exists in Tanzania, in Africa, and one of the things to keep in mind, the things that I'm talking about are specific to Tanzania, in one sense, because that's my personal experience. But we have to look at the big picture, because what I'm doing, this is possible in many different countries on the continent, have these type of opportunities and more. And we need to be aware of these things and prepare ourselves to participate in them, because we're living in a time where we're seeing a lot of profound changes in the earth, a lot of warfare, a lot of strife, a lot of persecution, that we're seeing in this country, particularly for African Americans, under the dominion of European systems, where we're under a lot of persecution. So in seeking alleviation of those things, we have an opportunity to return to our continent, to our birthright, and take advantage of the blessings there, because they're manifold, they're manifold. So that's the main thing. And number two is transcending consciousness, because it's a vanity to read all these books, to call ourselves quote unquote conscious, and not be able to actually put it into action in the place where it's going to yield the most. Because a person could be conscious. Let's say a short example. A person could be conscious and genuine and passionate and wanting to help people. And let's say they set up a community program in their neighborhood. They can be effective, but it can be more effective on the continent where people are more receptive. You have access to a wider spectrum of people, and the blessings inherent in being in a region of the earth itself. So you have to select where to plant your seed in the most fertile ground, where it will yield the most long term. So transcending consciousness, putting the things that we have learned into action.
Okay. All right. For those who just joined us, we're on the line with Brother Tmeed-El. He's just sharing with us his personal story of his faith walk, basically his travels, taking himself up and just trusting in the Creator that everything is going to be all right. And he made his way to Tanzania, and he's going to show us a little bit about what he has going on there. So, brother, would you like me to start the slideshow now?
Certainly.
All right. Hold on, let me make sure this is it. All right. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
All right. Okay. It's all yours. Just let me know when you say go on, then I'll go on to the next.
All right. This is Angera. This is my daughter in Tanzania. And this is just an emblematic photo of the people. The people there, they're so beautiful and so receptive you know, and so humble and so willing to learn the things that we have to share with them. And they also have a lot to share with us. So I like to open up with this image of Angera, just showing you know, the spirit of the people that you're going to encounter when you reach to those regions, because in a lot of ways they have been preserved from the devastation of the cultural impact that we have had here in the West under European influence. You know, that pure essence is still there in a lot of the children, you know. So let's go to the next slide. All right, the Tanzania Genesis Project. This is my personal project that I'm working on, and I want to make it available unto others. Genesis meaning a new beginning, you know, a new beginning. Because at this time, when we look out at the landscape, when we look at the state of affairs of our people, the state of affairs of our children, the state of affairs in the oppressive environment that we're in, it's obvious that we need a new beginning, hence the Genesis Project. Next slide. All right, the brother on the left, his name is Ninja. This is the brother that gave me the information about Tanzania. And I'm so grateful to him because he really inspired me to take a leap to see Tanzania. You know, when I had never been there, he gave me the contact information that I needed to get established. The brother on the right is Ikabunga. This is the brother who received me into his household when I arrived in Tanzania and taught me the ropes, you know, spiritually, historically, of what I needed to know to ground myself. So these two brothers I'm indebted to eternally for assisting me in my Exodus move to Tanzania. Next slide. All right, Tanzania, this is a country in East Africa. The population is 50 million people. They have 16 national parks. This is the country where Mount Kilimanjaro is, and the Serengeti National Park. The Serengeti National Park, this is one of the most popular national parks in the earth, on earth, where they film all those documentaries about like lions and zebras and wildlife in general on the continent. And they have so much beautiful land, so much beautiful people, so much beautiful resources. I mean, and a lot of it is untapped. A lot of it is untapped. And one of the things that we have to realize, particularly as Africans, is that there are other nationalities present in African countries right now taking full advantage of the benefits. Like when I was there was a large population of Chinese there, of Koreans there, of Europeans there, you know, Koreans, and they're taking full advantage. There are a lot of Indians there, you know, taking full advantage of the resources there. And they are there living with their families, you know, for generations. And Africans in America, we have been stigmatized. We have been given this negative stigma of Africa, and we fear the place. And this is the place of our blessing. And other people are enjoying it while we're in the West in poverty, you know, and fearing the place that we should be going to, you know, to invest, you know, to relocate, you know, to expand our lives and the possibilities of our lives. Proceed. All right, arriving in Tanzania, you know, traveling to Tanzania is relatively easy. I mean, it's actually super easy. You don't have to do anything special. You don't have to get any injections, no shots. Basically, purchase a ticket and show up at the airport. When you arrive at the airport, you can get a visa for a year for just $100, and you get it at the airport when you arrive. After which, you just walk out into the country. It's as simple as that. I mean, nothing complicated at all. It is one of the easiest processes I've ever been to. It's as easy as actually going to another state in the United States. It's nothing complicated. No requirements. Next.
Okay, hold on. Let me see here. I want to make sure. I think I just got a message that they're not actually seeing this slide. So let me, okay. Let's make sure that everybody can see here. Tell me if now, but they're being, I don't see the slides. I only see a default background page. Okay, brother, tell me if you're able to see it now. Are you still able to see it, Brother Tmeed-El?
Yeah, I've been seeing it from the
You've been
beginning.
seeing it, right? I've been seeing it. Okay, so let's see if everyone else can see it now. Can you see it now, Brother Gershwell? Let me know. Hold on one second. Let me release the screen. Sometimes it acts like that. That's why I didn't make it a full screen. Hold on. Let's try to grab it again. Sorry for the interruption in such a nice presentation. Nothing can be shown. They don't see it. Okay, give me 1 second. You guys are gonna have to tell me if you can see it. Okay. All right. All right, here it is up on the screen. Oh, I see what they're seeing. They're seeing black. Present to everyone. Can you see it, brother?
I can't see it now.
You cannot see it.
Okay, it just came up.
It came up now.
I see in the Facebook page now. All right, now I'm seeing it.
You're seeing it. Okay. Hold on. Can you all see it on? Let me know if you can see it on. I'll tell you right now. Hold on. Sometimes this is how it acts. It doesn't like full screen. But let me see. No, I don't see any. No, it's not just you, Brother Gershwell. It's sometimes that's how it acts when you're trying to do a presentation. Sometimes it does it. Sometimes you have to release the screen. The screen is black. Let me try one more time. Please bear with us. Thank you for your patience. One moment, please. Hopefully everybody will be able to see it now. Or I will have to take it out of this mode. Hold on. Let's go back. We're just going to go back to this particular one. Hold on. Are you still there?
Yep.
Alrighty. Hold on 1 second. Present to everyone. Everyone, please let me know. Okay, that's Imuna. I'm working on something here. Tell me if you can see this one now.
I'm not seeing anything at the moment.
You don't see it on the
I'm
screen?
seeing you. I'm seeing you.
Seeing me. Right. Let's do it again. Yes, darling. What about now? I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Present to everyone. Come on, Google Hangout thing. Stop bugging out. I have to get a new. It was just showing it, not sure.
I can see it now.
You can see it now?
Yeah, but it's not full screen.
Yeah, it's not. That's the thing. For some reason, when I make it full screen, they can't see it. So hopefully, at this point, they can see it. Can you see it now in the chat box? Right now, you're probably seeing. Hey, Shalom, son of Levi, how you doing? We're trying to make sure that you guys can see the actual presentation here. Give me 1 second. You can see it. You can continue on, brother. We're gonna see what's going on here. What's up?
Continue to talk.
Yeah, you continue to talk. Not exactly sure.
All right. So we're talking about the practical application of consciousness, because as I was stating earlier, it's not enough just to be conscious. Consciousness, the definition means to be aware of something, awareness, coming into the knowledge of something new. So reading a book, we become aware of something. Like for instance, for example, to read a book about vegetarianism, or improving your health, and you come across some principles about why and what you have to eat, and the reasons behind what you have to eat to maintain your health. That's being conscious of some information, but it's actually a vanity if it's never put into practice. If it's never put into practice, it's as if a person is actually unconscious. They've never read the book. They have never came across the information about how to sustain and maintain their health, dietary principles. So without the application, it's the total vanity. And this is an area where a lot of people are stuck, particularly African Americans. They've read all kind of books, watched all kind of documentaries, been involved in, a lot of different meetings and groups, learning a lot of information, but not actually applying it, which, like I say, is a vanity, and we have to transcend that. We have to realize just being conscious, that's not the ultimate aim. The ultimate aim of gaining knowledge is to utilize it. That has to be the aim. Not just sounding intelligent around our friends and our family. That's completely foolish and vain. We have to transcend just being conscious. That's just a first step. Because if you become conscious, if you become aware of something and you don't apply it, that's actually becoming unconscious now. You're going back into the unconscious state, because your reality, it won't change. Just as a person who is unconscious, their reality is impossible to change. So we have to see the importance of actually utilizing the things that we've learned. Not just speaking, not just orating, not just thinking, but acting, to manifest those things that we are conscious of in order to grow, It's like having a seed that's unwatered. The seed has potential, but unless it's in that right environment, it's impossible for it to germinate,
Go ahead. I'm listening to you, Brother Tmeed. Everybody's like, we can't see the presentation. So I'm over here working behind the screens, trying to see what in the world and why it's not coming up. But I definitely agree with what it is you say. The work that I do, I kind of understand, to a certain degree, what happened and why the people now are in this state of learned helplessness. And, the fact that it takes a lot to jar, it's not by lack of trying, really, that the people are in this state. It is there that every time they've tried, they realize that, it gets either worse or nothing happens. And so as the generations go on, a lot of people just say, hey, why do it anyway? You have those who went to Israel. You have those who went to Ethiopia as early as Josiah Ford, saying, let's go to Ethiopia. Okay, they say they see it. You guys see it now? Okay.
I can see it.
You can see it now? Okay, that's good. So you have like Josiah Ford, who went to Ethiopia as early as 1930, saying, let's start a school. A few people went and then they fell off and then it came to naught. And so, I definitely agree with what you're saying. And it's something that we need to, like you're doing, speak about, because people have become complacent in this space of just talking. And it actually is even getting more of a mess in this day and time when all you do is talk and not really put things into action. So would you like me to go on to the next slide?
Yeah, we can go on to the next slide. Well, actually, let's go back to the first slide. Because there wasn't any context for the discussion prior. Oh, all right. Yeah. So anyway, picking it up from the beginning, from the Genesis. This is the Tanzania Genesis project, and what we're doing is basically setting the foundation of a community that's going to receive many African Americans who desire to relocate to the continent in this day and time. That's the objective of the particular program, because right now, living in the Western Hemisphere, we're under multiple types of persecution. And in seeking alleviation from this, we have to reconnect now to our continent and establish things in the East, because the time has come. The time has come for 4 centuries. 4 centuries have elapsed in the West. 4 centuries have elapsed in these slave colonies, and things have not gotten better. They've gotten progressively worse. So we have to take a stand and make a move of our own initiative to establish a foundation, a new foundation. Let's go to the next slide. So this is why the Genesis Project now exists. The Genesis Project, basically, it means a new beginning in the mind of man, where we're able to set a foundation and establish a society based upon our principles, our moral principles, African principles, because the principles that we've been governed by, this is an alien culture that we've been under, which has produced alien results, and not the type of results that we're interested or looking for. European standards, these are not the highest standards in the world. They may be perceived as being the highest standards, but when you look historically, these are actually some of the lowest standards of any culture in the history of the world. These are immoral standards now that are being imposed on worldwide, worldwide. So everybody doesn't have to swallow that, and those of us who choose to resist that, we're setting up an environment where we can thrive now, where we can thrive. Next slide. So this is Brother Ninja. He's the brother that told me about Tanzania on the left-hand side. And the brother on the right with the guitar, this is Ikabonga, Brother Ikabonga, who's a Tanzanian. I'm indebted to these brothers eternally, because they're the ones that actually gave me what I needed to resettle on the continent successfully. Next slide. So Tanzania, this is East Africa. This is the country underneath Kenya. The population is 50 million people at this particular time. And the country is actually underpopulated. They have vast regions of virgin land in a lot of different areas, in a lot of different climatic zones as well. There are multiple resources in the country, from gemstones to people to wildlife, to agricultural opportunities, minerals. I mean, it's vast, I mean, the opportunities there are so bountiful. There's no reason for failure in Tanzania except a lack of understanding of how to utilize those things. So there's plenty of opportunity, and it's a young, very young country. A lot of things aren't in place and set up yet that need to be put in place. So for entrepreneurs, this is a key location on earth to take advantage of some of the opportunities there. And this is something to keep in mind, is as African Americans, is that, in Tanzania, when I was there, I've seen many Chinese, many Koreans, many Indians, many Europeans, these other nations. They're in large populations, and involved in many projects because they can see the value of the resources that exist in Tanzania. And there are very small numbers of African Americans that are there, working, with the people, which is a shame, because we of any people, we of all people, need to be on point, establishing wealth for ourselves and our families, and sharing the knowledge that we have gained with the Tanzanian people. So there are many opportunities there. Let's continue. All right, coming to Tanzania is a very easy process. It's actually not complicated at all. You don't need to get any injections. There's no type of preparation you need to do. The only thing you actually need to do is buy a ticket. That's it, and show up at the airport. When you reach the Tanzanian airport, you pay $100 for a visa. That's for 12 months. basically, and you just walk out into the country. You get the visa at the airport. That's it. You know, it's no hassle at all. You know, it's actually quite easy to move around and navigate in the country. Nothing that you need to do, you know, prior, no planning, you know, just show up at the airport basically, and you can walk right out into the country. Let's continue. All right, so my objective when I went to Tanzania is to establish myself firmly. So I got married in Tanzania, you know, and I not only married a beautiful woman, but I married into a beautiful family. You know, she has a lot of brothers and sisters who have helped me in my transition. Like, for example, my brother-in-law, my wife's brother, he's the one that built my house that we now live in, you know, and they have helped me to acquire land and facilitate many other things. So in Tanzania, we have to look at and get reconnected with the concept of an extended family, because we don't realize how valuable that resource is in helping us to achieve our objectives. Let's continue. All right, land security. In Tanzania, land is accessible. Land is accessible and at very, very reduced prices. Like the acre of land where I built my house, that was purchased for $2,000 for a whole acre of land, you know, just $2,000. And that's in stark contrast to the prices that people pay in North America, you know, or in the Caribbean. You know, land is at a premium in the Western Hemisphere, but land in Africa, you can get it. I mean, it's attainable. That doesn't involve a 40-year mortgage, which is standard in the Western Hemisphere. You know, $2,000. We own it, no payments, nothing. You know, we could just begin to farm, begin to build houses, which we have done. So land security is really crucial. And that's one of the things that we have been missing in the Western Hemisphere is land security, because the cost is so outrageous and the payments so long term that we get very little of it, if any. In fact, many African Americans, they live in apartment paradigms their entire lives. They live in apartment paradigms their entire life. They just paint apartments. They're unable to get a house. They're unable to get land, and they're just basically throwing away thousands of dollars, you know, every year just to maintain an apartment. So the image just disappeared. Let's go to the next image.
Oh no.
Let's go to the next image.
You can see it now?
Yeah, I can see it now. Yeah, so land security, crucial, you know. Within my first year, I was able to get more than 40 acres of land. More than 40 acres of land in Tanzania, you know. Another thing that the land affords us the ability to do in Tanzania is to erect houses, because the type of soil in Tanzania is of the clay type. So they actually make bricks from the soil right on site, right on your own land. So basically, if you purchase an acre of land, for instance, you can manufacture your own bricks right there on the land, on your own land, to build a house, you know, to build a house. One moment. Lucille. Hello?
Yes, we're here. I think I found out what the problem was. If anybody, Brother Gershwell, if you're out there and you can hear me, just let me know if you can see the pictures now. You should be able to see it now. I think I found the little snafu. But go ahead, Brother Tmeed-El. Go ahead.
Okay, so land, you know, land, you can make bricks on the property, right on site where you have your land, which reduces the cost factor in building a house, which is really crucial, you know, because the cost of living in Tanzania is very inexpensive, where you're able to get land and build a house at a much faster rate than you would in the Western Hemisphere. I purchased land and built a house in 1 year, within 1 year of arriving. And it's fully paid for, no bank involved, no mortgage, no rent, no payments. Me and our family, we're just living, we're just living. And now we have the ability to focus on other things, like our farm project. So this is showing my house in the construction phase. I built a 4-bedroom house and it cost around $45,000 to build. And this is the first phase of it on the land that we purchased, the acre that I purchased for $2,000. Let's continue. This is the house being erected. Let's continue. So they build the bricks. They create the bricks right from the soil in the ground, right there. I mean, and this is throughout Tanzania. The soil is of the clay type. So houses are going up all over the country, and they're able to do it at a rapid rate because you can manufacture bricks right on your property. What they do is they shape the bricks and then they burn them they stack them into like a mini house, what you're seeing on the right hand side of this photograph, and then they burn it to make the bricks hard. Thereafter, they begin construction of the house. So that reduces the cost of building in Tanzania by a great margin. Let's continue. This is my house being erected. Let's continue. Next. So they create bricks themselves. You can see the brother in the background here. He is the one who manufactured all these bricks himself. This is a common sight in Tanzania. You just see bricks everywhere because people are building houses everywhere over the country. And they're doing it themselves. They're doing it themselves at extremely low cost. Let's continue. You see how a foundation being built out of the same bricks. Next. So this is the construction phase. This is what you see all through the country of Tanzania, houses being erected, and very strong houses too. So I'm showing this to illustrate that the cost involved in relocating is a lot lower than people actually think, significantly lower and faster. So relocation to those regions like Tanzania, Kenya is a very viable option, for people looking to repatriate. So let's continue. That's my house in the background on the right-hand side that we completed. I still have a few things to do, like painting the outside, painting the inside. We have some finishing to do, but the structure is complete. And that's where I live. $45,000 is finished. No payments, no bank, no 40-year mortgage. And on the left-hand side, we have erected a shade house. This is the nursery where we're growing plants, trees for our orchard project. Let's continue. All right, so now that my house is built, I can begin to focus on the other things that I need to do to secure the family. Phase number 1 is food security. So our intention is to plant acres of breadfruit, taro, banana, and avocado. And thus far, we have planted 2,600 taro plants, also known as tanya in the Caribbean, which is a crop that multiplies itself. We also planted 120 banana trees, which is also a crop that multiplies itself. You don't need to plant those foods one time, and child plants automatically grow from the root of where you planted the initial plant. So they just multiply themselves. So this will be a permanent food source. We'll always have bananas and tanya to eat, for the rest of our lives, basically. You know, I bought an additional acre behind my house, and this acre has a wet consistency, is always moist, which is perfect conditions for growing the Tanya plant. So, you know, now that we have access to land, you know, we have to use it. You know, we have to use it to establish orchards for our families where we're able to now feed ourselves and sell the surplus to the markets. And this will provide income, you know, to sustain families, you know, which is a fundamental blessing, you know. Let's continue. So this is me in my backyard when I initially got there. And you can see there's nothing there except grass at this particular point. Let's continue. This is in the nursery where we have planted 120 avocado trees, 150 breadfruit trees, 100 moringa trees, and 100 gourd fruit trees, which are thriving right now in the nursery. Next. This is my backyard now. You saw the before picture. This is the after picture, you know, where we planted all these banana trees and all the Tanya plants. And the Tanya plant, you can eat the leaf, the root, and the stem, you know, are all edible. And it grows basically all year round, you know. So, and they multiply themselves. So we planted 2,600 trees. I mean, 2,600 plants. In a year's time, it's going to be multiplied by a factor of 4 or 5. So we're going to have more than 10,000 plants there. And that's something that's really easy to do. This particular project cost me less than $2,500. And that's including the cost of the land. And that's including the cost of the labor to get and plant all those plants, the 2,600 Tanya plants, as well as 120 banana trees. You know, that was less than $2,500 total to manifest a permanent food source. You know, that's something to really consider. You know, that's something to really consider, man. That's a remarkable blessing for a very low price. Let's continue. This is my neighbor's farm where they plant corn, you know, right across a little river that we have dividing our land. They plant corn, bananas, and cane, sugar cane. Next. This is before, this is when I had just planted. We saw a picture where it's thriving even more, but that was the beginning. Next. This is the backyard again, showing what we're doing, you know, growing organic food. And one of the things that we really have to consider is that in this age of industrial chemical farming, we have to take control of our food supply. We have to be able to grow our own food because we're becoming sicker and sicker as we eat the conventional produce that we purchase in supermarkets, because a lot of it, most of it, is inorganic. You know, it's flooded with chemicals, which we ingest, that's causing a lot of the cancers and issues that's plaguing particularly African Americans, who are disproportionately affected in the United States of America. So taking control of our food security, you know, for our health security is crucial. And we have seized that particular blessing in Tanzania. We have seized that and taken responsibility for what our family eats, you know, which is really crucial. That's a fundamental birthright. That's a fundamental birthright. But in the Western Hemisphere, being stripped of land, we don't have access to land. We don't even have this opportunity for the most part. We don't even have this opportunity. We don't have the area that we need to grow food. So we have to depend upon Europeans for food. And this particular country, they, like I say, they have poisoned the food with chemicals. So this is a serious step that we need to take and to consider. Let's continue. Yeah, this is showing like different phases, different areas of the garden where we plant different things. Next. That's my daughter and my niece harvesting some of the greens that we eat, fully organic, fully organic. This is really crucial. There's some bok choy, some more banana trees, pumpkin, several of the greens that we eat, because greens are really crucial for our health and longevity. They provide a lot of fiber and vitamins and minerals that we need for bodies to function at optimal capacity. It's just showing the thriving in the garden, and this is part, like I say, of the Genesis idea. This is part of the Genesis idea, taking control and seizing the opportunity to feed ourselves. One of the things that we don't think about is the price tag attached to food. The price tag attached to food. Who put a price tag on food? Who put a price tag on food? Man shouldn't have to pay for food because land is given to us. But we've been removed from land, so that concept no longer exists in our mind, where we think that it's a normal thing to pay for food, that's the aberrant thought, actually. So now, being in a possession of land, we're reversing that thought process, where we can freely eat now from the work of our own hands and eat better food than we used to purchase. Let's continue. Yeah, this is some of the greens that we eat. Man, this stuff tastes so good. In Tanzania, there are much wider range of greens available for consumption that have way better taste than the greens that we find here in the West. Like, for instance, in the Western Hemisphere, a lot of people are used to kale and collards. Those are the two main types of greens that people consume. And they're actually tasteless in comparison to the green varieties that they have in Tanzania. Let's continue. It's showing the garden. Let's continue. Yeah, the growth rate of the Tanya, this is less than 9 months worth of growth, where we planted the taro and they're thriving, in a short manner of time, because of the fertility of the soil is so rich, everything thrives there. Next. Yeah, less than 9 months worth of growth and everything is thriving. Next. This is in the nursery, where we have 150 breadfruit trees. On the left-hand side, you can see the young breadfruit trees. And on the right, those are moringa trees in the background. And this is another layer in our food security program, where we're going to be planting these particular trees. Breadfruit in particular was chosen because this is the tree that yields the most tonnage of food annually of any fruit-bearing tree on earth. And it tastes really good. Being from the Caribbean, this is something that we ate all the time. That was in the environment that I grew up in. And it is very nutritional as well. It has a higher nutritional profile than corn or potatoes, and definitely a better flavor. And one of the reasons I'm emphasizing on planting trees is because when you plant trees, they continue to produce for decades without having to replant every year like a perennial crop, like corn, for instance. Like we saw in the earlier slide, the Tanzanians, they plant a lot of corn, but that's something that's labor intensive and something that you have to engage in annually. My emphasis is on planting trees, which you have to plant one time. And once they catch themselves, they basically take care of themselves. It's very low maintenance. And all you have to do after they start to bear is pick, basically. All you have to do is pick them and prune the trees. And that's it. You have an orchard basically for generations. My daughter, who's in the picture, my young daughter, that was just born, overseeing the trees that are going to be in the orchard that she is going to inherit. So that's a blessed opportunity to be able to give my daughter, you know, land with trees on it, trees that grow simultaneously with her, that's going to feed her and nourish her and give her wealth. That's a source of wealth, you know, that she's going to manage as she comes of age. So that's a great blessing to be able to give her that particular opportunity, that inheritance. Next. This is a shade house that we had donated. We got the kit recently delivered to Tanzania. So in a few months, we're going to be erecting this shade house, which is going to be serve as another nursery where we're going to be growing a lot of trees to populate the orchard that we have. So this is a great blessing. Like I said, this was donated, and it's a PVC based orchard, PVC pipes, which is very inexpensive and it lasts for many years. So we're going to be erecting this in the next few months to facilitate us populating our orchard with a wide array of trees that we're going to be planting. Next. This is how it's going to look in the future. Next. All right, this is the site of the second house that we built in Tanzania. You know, from the ground up. I built 2 houses within 2 years. Both completely paid for. Like I said, no bank, no mortgage, none of that. And like I said, they can make the bricks right on site, which greatly reduces construction costs, you know, for a strong structure. Let's continue. This is showing the progression of the house. Next. Continue. Next. 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 Yeah, this is a 4-bedroom house located in an area called Ligunga. And it costs less than $50,000 to build, you know. And you could get houses smaller than this for a lot less, you know. So there are many housing options available where you have a place that you can call your own without a 40-year mortgage in front of you, you know, with some space, you know, you have land, vast land surrounded you that you could use to grow whatever you want to grow. That's the kind of opportunities that are available in Tanzania that we need to take advantage of. You know, it's an amazing opportunity. Next. These are some of the different housing styles that they have. Next. Next. So basically you can get anything that you want, you know, for a lot less expense than you would otherwise. Like I said, land is really affordable. You can get an acre of land for $2,000, you know, a whole acre. That's enough room for 4 houses, if that's what you choose to do, you know, or for 1 house and, you know, like 30 trees, you know, or a huge garden, you know, whatever you want to do. So the opportunities are endless. Next. Some of the housing styles that they have there. Next. These are the markets in Tanzania. Let's talk about the markets. Tanzania, in the area where I live, is called Songea. Songea is the capital of a larger region called Ruvuma in Tanzania. And this is the agricultural breadbasket of the entire country. This place has food, everything you want to find. This is an average day in the market where everything is available, you know, all kind of fruits, melons, grains, seeds, spices, you know, anything that you want to find in the market. I mean, the place is blessed at very reduced cost, you know, very reduced cost. Like for example, a pineapple, you could purchase a pineapple for like 50 cents, 75 cents for a pineapple. An avocado is 25 cents. You know, a bunch of bananas you could get for 75 cents. You know, the cost of living is very, very inexpensive. So that's a major blessing. You know, you could get like a watermelon for $1.50 to the $2, you know, for a watermelon. You know, so it's so many advantages of living in Tanzania. Next. Yeah, papaya, you know, I mean, now that we have land, we have the opportunity to grow anything that we want, you know, anything that we want, which we are doing. This photo was taken at a nursery where you can purchase slips or young seedlings for all different types of fruit trees, all kind of mango trees, different varieties of mangoes, avocados, jackfruit, oranges, tangerines, and you could buy the seedling. It's like 50 cents a seedling. So let's say you purchase an acre for $2,000, right? An acre, you could fit like 60 fruit trees on an acre. So to buy one fruit tree seedling costs like 50 cents. So to buy 60, that's $30. So for $2,000 for the acre, at $30, you have an acre of fruit trees, 60 fruit trees on an acre of land for $2,030 approximately. And in some regions, you could get an even lower price than that. So think about that, you know, $2,030 for an acre of land with fruit trees on it that will bear for decades, you know, decades. You know, your children will be able to eat, you will be able to eat and sell the surplus, you know, and that's just 1 acre. So we need to begin to think in those type of numbers because those are the opportunities that exist, you know. And one of the things that I'm also doing is farming co-ops where people who are not ready to relocate can invest in populating acres of land with trees, which when they start to bear, we can split the profits, you know, and that's a great way to preemptively prepare for your transition if you ultimately want to come and live in Tanzania. But at minimum, you'll be able to invest in a business that will provide food for decades. One of the trees that we're going to use is the cashew because cashew is the #2 cash crop in Tanzania, which has a very high profit margin. And they begin bearing in only 3 years, you know, in only 3 years. And the industry in Tanzania is functioning below capacity. The cashew processing industry is functioning below capacity. So they're looking for farmers to start cashew orchards. And the profit incentive is super high with a short frame of time to begin harvesting. So that's something to begin to consider as we start to reinvest on the continent. Farming co-ops. I'll touch on that more at another point. Next. This is jackfruit, one of the fruits that they have in Tanzania. Man, this fruit is one of the best fruits on the planet. It's actually the hugest tree-borne fruit on earth, man. And it tastes so good. One fruit could feed 4 adults. And in some cases, they won't be able to finish all of it because it's so huge. It's bigger than a watermelon. And it grows on a tree. And the flavor, oh man, is the best. Man. It is the best. I absolutely love it. Next. This fruit is called God fruit in Tanzania. They're as big as tangerines, and the flavor is immaculate. I've never had this fruit before or seen it anywhere on earth except in Tanzania. And they're so inexpensive. That whole bag cost me less than $1, you know. And it tastes so good, man. So good, like a super sweet pear, super sweet, juicy type of pear fruit. Next. This is how abundant the place is, you know, in Tanzania. I mean, when it's time for fruits, when you go to the markets, this is what you see. You know, these pineapples is like 50 cents per pineapple, and they cut it up right there in front of you, you know, and slice it up into a bag. You be eating right on the spot. Some of the best pineapples you ever had in your life for like 50 cents, you know, for 50 cents. Oh man, I got to get back. I got to get back. Let's continue. Seafood stands like this, they're commonplace throughout Tanzania, all over the place, you know, just abundant fruit, man, all over the place. You know. And the thing to think about is not just purchasing fruit, but being able to start our own orchards to provide fruit for our families and to sell, because it's relatively easy to do, you know, and a permanent income source. Let's continue. Yeah, again, the fruit stands in Tanzania. They have some exotic fruits that people haven't encountered yet. Let's continue. This is our nursery where we started to grow the breadfruit and other trees, because we're getting directly involved as early as possible into the agricultural industry by planting trees. Next. That's me and my brethren, the family that I stayed with when I initially went to Tanzania. We went to a cultural festival in Bagamoyo, which is an area close to Dar es Salaam, the capital of Tanzania. We had an excellent time, as you could see. Bagamoyo is one of the art centers in Tanzania where a lot of artists emerge from. You know, a lot of vocal artists, traditional artists, painters, poets, etc. We had an amazing time. You know, so it's a blessing to reconnect with our brothers in the East, because we have a lot to share, you know, from both perspectives. Let's continue. Tanzania has 16 national parks, so there's a whole lot to do in the country. You know, these are photos that I took just from the bus window driving through the national park. I actually didn't go into the national park. Just driving through it, I took some photos of some of the wildlife that they have there. Did it be right on the side of the road, right on the side of the road. It's amazing, amazingly beautiful. Let's continue. Some of the landscape, you know, you see the type of houses people build. And one of the things to keep in mind is that in Tanzania, there's everything there. There's everything there. From really rural, basic lifestyles to what we can term contemporary lifestyles, with people that go downtown, you know, that go to the malls and work, you know, in suits and have office jobs. They have everything there, you know, everything. So wherever you want to plug into, whether it be rural, farming, basic, to the IT world, where you driving downtown in traffic to an office job in a skyscraper, everything is there. The full spectrum of life. They're a very developed country. Next. It's a fishing village that I visited. Next. There are a lot of different tribes of Black people in Tanzania, and they look actually distinctly different than African Americans. The facial structure, the body structure. There are a lot of Maasai warriors in Tanzania, which I had a blessed opportunity to reconnect with, and even hear some of them perform their singing, which is amazing, amazing. And they embrace me fully, you know, they embrace me fully as a brother, and happy to reconnect and converse. You know, so that was a really excellent aspect of Tanzania, how warm the people were in embracing me and wanting to hear my story, and me wanting to hear their story, you know. So it's a mutual reciprocative learning process that we go through once we reconnect. Let's continue. This is one of the cultural festivals that we attended, where there were some acrobats, and it was amazing to see the abilities that our brothers and sisters have, you know, in so many forms. Let's continue. This is a musical group that I had the opportunity to do some marketing for in Tanzania. They have a lot of emerging artists, you know. I mean, the music scene in Tanzania is in full swing. They have a wide range of artists in a lot of genres, you know, doing some amazing things. So the culture is really deep, diverse, you know, and beautiful, you know, beautiful. The music industry is really on fire at this particular time. Next. and just the natural beauty of the people, you know, the natural beauty of the people is just so divine. And one of the things about Tanzania that I really like is the ability to have some space to think and reconnect and and strip, you know, really like strip ourselves down to our true essence, our true nature. Because in exile, we have put on the culture of Europeans. You know, we put on their languages in our mouths, their thoughts are in our mind. So now, emerging now, you know, in Tanzania, I find myself, now that I'm rooted again, my genuine original thoughts, you know, and expressions now can manifest themselves, because whereas before I was imprisoned, you know, imprisoned in exile. So there's a freedom in just our presence there that we have to experience. Next. Some of the wildlife in Tanzania, amazingly beautiful. Next. Yeah, amazing wildlife, you know, amazing wildlife in Tanzania. It's so beautiful in every aspect, from the people, you know, the fruits, the environment, you know, the lifestyle, the language, you know, Swahili, you know, it's an amazing experience. That's it for the slide. We could resume the conversation.
All right, hold on. I'm glad we finally got that going there. For those who just joined us, my name is Amuna Yisrael. You're watching Amuna Yisrael on YouTube. Solonomics 101. I'm here with Brother Tmeed-El. He's sharing his experience um, with getting up, going, leaving the West, going to the continent, resettling in Tanzania, and he's basically came and showed us, you know, some of the things that questions that a lot of people may have as it relates to Africa, separate and apart from what is shown you on television, on the documentary with the little baby with the, you know, fly pitching on their nose, and you know, there's very few people who would be willing to get up and go and see for themselves and have their own stories to tell. So we really appreciate the fact that you did that, and not only that, but came back to share as it relates to so many people having different ideologies here. So you have melanated people just in the same way, you know, Kenya, Ethiopia, Tanzania, all these different places on the continent have different tribes. So it is here, even though we've kind of lost touch with that. What do you say to, say, the Israelite who is like, well, brother, you know, Tanzania, that's not Israel. You know, what would you say to that individual? Like, what are you saying this is a place to finally settle? Are you saying this is a place to pass through? Like, what are you saying specifically? I would say for the Israelite, what would you be saying to them exactly as it relates to this conversation?
That's an excellent question. To the Israelites specifically, one of the things that we have to reflect on is that when Moses made Exodus with the children of Israel from Egypt, they didn't immediately go to Israel. You know, they went into the wilderness for a sanctification period to purify themselves. And from there, they made final entry into the promised land, you know. So that's one of the things to consider. They didn't go directly to Israel. There was a sanctification process. Furthermore, I really see it as an urgency. We have to relocate, you know, as soon as possible, because we see world events escalating. So we have to get our foothold. We have to establish a base, you know, where from there we can spread out to the next place. You understand? It's like we're setting up the initial step. I view Tanzania as some place that we can get a foothold in relatively easy in the east, which from where we can branch out to the other places that we're going to be branching out to, like Israel, like Demona, you know, and the other regions within the borders of our vast inheritance, you know.
Okay.
In Psalms, the 2nd chapter, it stated that ask of me and I shall give thee, thy possessions, thy inheritance in the uttermost regions of the earth. So there's a lot of places that we're going to be inheriting, you know, and this I view as one of the first steps that we can make, and from there we can explore other regions. But we need at this particular point to get a foothold in the East, and set up a community and an infrastructure that can receive ones, who on that particular journey. And from there, we'll move to step 2.
So we have some, if anybody, thank you so much for answering that question. For those who just joined us, we're on the line with Brother Tmeed-El. We're talking about the practical application of consciousness. If you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat box. Sister Adayahu has a question. She said, where would be the most ideal, inexpensive place to live in Tanzania? And the second part is, how would one survive in Tanzania without a ready-made job? So where would be the ideal, inexpensive place? And secondly, how would one survive in Tanzania without an ideal, ready-made job?
Okay, that's an excellent question. My experience in Tanzania thus far, I've been living in 2 areas. I've lived in Dar es Salaam, which is the city-like area, and I've lived in Songea, which is a more rural type area, right? In Dar es Salaam, that basically, this place have like everything that you would find in America. They have malls there, fast food stores, huge supermarkets, traffic, skyscrapers, everything that you would want to find like in America, everything is there. Now, the area where I live in, Songea, they also have basically everything except for skyscrapers. They have hospitals, pharmacies, stores, huge markets, and the cost of living in Songea is much less than in Dar es Salaam. Like, for example, like in Songea, you can rent an apartment for $750 for 6 months for like a 2-bedroom apartment, in an area that has electricity and internet access and access to amenities that people are used to, like ATM machines, restaurants, guest houses, stores that sell everything from tools to generators to solar panels, everything. We don't lack for anything in Songea. Everything is there. Paved roads, gas stations, internet cafes, everything is there. And like I said, $750 for, that's rent for 6 months. That's not 1 month. That's 6 months worth of rent. $125 a month, basically. And to answer the second question, people without income, one of the things that I've found successful is there's a lot of internet jobs out there that you can do online that don't require a high degree of skill. There's a website, ratracerebellion.com, which I suggest a lot of people start investigating to see the kind of different internet jobs that you can do. And all you need is an internet connection and a laptop, basically. And you can work and get money deposited in your account, which you can retrieve from the ATMs in Tanzania, to start your journey. Like, for instance, there are a lot of medical transcription jobs, regular transcription jobs that people can get, where they just basically type in on the internet. Right now, I got a job through Rat Race Rebellion as a video analyzer. Like, I analyze videos and rate them, and I get paid. It goes directly into my bank account, and I'm able to just go to the ATM and get the money out. And this is American money, which has a lot of leverage in Tanzania. So things like that, begin looking into, internet jobs that will definitely assist ones in their transition and be able to sustain them economically.
All right. You're getting a lot of good information here, everyone. As I said before, in times past, I went through this entire process that Brother Tmeed-El is speaking about some 8 years ago, 9 years ago now, and he's doing it more up to date than I. 9 years is a bit outdated, and he's more current in this. And so you're getting a lot of priceless real-time information that if this is something that you're interested in, you should really take heed to. Now, Brother Tmeed-El, I forgot to do the update. Do you have a website that people can come to? They can donate if they want, or reach out to you so that they can express whether or not they want to invest in what it is that you're doing, because you have come back with what a lot of people don't come back with, which is proof of concept. You're showing through your own effort, time, and energy that this is something that is plausible and is something that you're actually investing into. So how can the people reach you?
I have a website. Name of the website is exodusbless.com. exodusbless.com, and there's a lot of information there about what I'm doing in Tanzania. There's some video footage there so you can see what's going on the ground, and my contact information is there as well, so you can get in contact with me directly so we can start a conversation, so you can see what opportunities exist, and we take it from there. Right now I'm talking to several people that are looking to move to Tanzania this year, and I've purchased land for people already that have yet to come to Tanzania. I've built a house for a person already, a 4-bedroom house, as you saw in the slideshow, and that family is on the ground right now. So we're setting it up where we're gathering, the right people, the right team, so we can establish ourselves concretely, and start establishing institutions that will last for decades, I'm saying, for centuries. And the orchard is where we're starting primarily, because the orchard, this will be able to sustain our lifestyles, sustain our families, and provide income and food, organic food, to our people, which is a crucial first step. And from there, we'll be branching out into other industries for investment and opportunities.
All right, now you guys heard it. This is Brother Tmeed-El on the line right now with Amuni Israel. I want to shout out once again to Brother Gershriel. Excellent interview, excellent information. Is there anything you want to say before we go ahead and sign off, brother?
Yeah, the final thing, which is the emphasis of what we're speaking of, is transcending just being conscious. It's not sufficient to be conscious. It's insufficient to just be a quote unquote conscious person, just having a lot of knowledge in our heads. That's a vanity at this particular point. Just being able to be eloquent and versed in a lot of ideas, being just at the theoretical level is not enough. We have to actually utilize what we have been blessed to receive, and we have to also think about where we're going to utilize it. What's the optimum place to utilize the blessing that we receive? And we have to begin to consider once again the continent, Africa, where we come from, because we're under severe persecution in the Western Hemisphere. 4 centuries later, and we still don't have fundamental rights. And we see the rise of immorality in the government system and standards of this European nation, these European countries that have been governing us. So we can't swallow everything that they're saying any longer. We have a distinct cultural profile that we need to express, that's not being able to be expressed in exile at this particular point. So in order to express our fullness and receive our fullness, we have an inheritance in the East. So we need to return to these regions to examine what our inheritance is and claim our inheritance. We have to claim it. We have to claim it, and at minimum, invest. We have to invest in these things, because that's what's necessary at this particular point.
As you hear, that's the babies in the background. Sorry about that. Thank you so much for that. Very much. For those who, again, are just tuning in, you're going to have to hear it on the replay. I have one more question, just for those who, because it has been my experience that there are a lot of people who want to make a move, but they don't have the finances. They're so much stuck in the rat race. They're so, you know, in the space of not having the 45 or $50,000, not having the, you know, oftentimes plane tickets to Africa is like 1,000 and change, not even having that. What do you say of those people who are not able monetarily, although the heart is willing, let's say the flesh is weak? What is to be said for them? And is there any possibility for them to go on such a venture?
That's an excellent question. I'm glad you asked it. One of the things that we have to see the importance of and use the importance of, not just see it, we have to use the importance of, is we have to move as a group. We have to do what we're doing as a group of people. Because if we move as a group, then we will be able to facilitate the movement of others who are not at that financial status that they need to be. You know, he's not heavy, he's my brother. That's the concept that we need to move with, you know, in this Exodus movement. You know, it's not just one person. But within that now, when I see what I've achieved in just 3 years' time as one person, man, I'm so confident that if we move as a group, we can multiply everything that I just presented in this presentation by a magnitude, by a factor of 5, you know, or 10, you know, 24, 34, if we move as a group. So we just need to join hands, you know, join hands. Those who have that type of wealth, we need to work together. We need to work together because there's enough for everyone. There's enough for everyone and more than enough. I mean, it's total abundance, you know, total abundance. So us working together, we can accommodate those who are not financially blessed. Even me, myself, I'm not, you know, I'm not financially blessed. I don't have like a lot of money, but the faith, the passion, you know, the zeal with understanding and with working with others, we can make this manifest, you know, for all of us. So just get in contact with me and we could begin the conversation and we'll come up with a way to make it manifest. Trust me, we can do it. You know, we have to do it. You know, so we moving as a group, that's the key. That's the key.
All right, now they said there's an old proverb: if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. That's an old African proverb, and that's what Brother Tmeed-El was just speaking about. And there's so many different aspects to this. You know, the time has flown by. I want to definitely thank you for coming in tonight, and tonight it's in the middle of the day, and today, and being willing to share your experience as well as extending yourself to open up to those who have these thoughts in their mind and don't know where to start. And so I think that once again, that's so valuable. And I want to thank you for coming in. Go ahead and hold on with the line with me. If you have any additional questions or comments, you can put it at this video, or you could contact Brother Tmeed-El at www.exodusbless.com. And everybody continue to go out and be the change that you desire to see in the world. 1.